Welcome back to Will Smith, a HubSpot trainer here at Impact who has expertise across a lot of digital platforms. And he's going to come and talk to us today about chatbots. And I think chatbots they've kind of existed in sort of a static way in people's mind, that they've not really improved all that much until the advent of AI getting rapidly sweeping across all manner of professional services. So I want to start with the way that most people think about chatbots, which is kind of a standard branching logic chatbot where it's able to answer one question or two questions, like a "what can I help you with today" kind of thing, but it's kind of limited. First, talk about why that's becoming a more outdated view.
Well, I definitely agree with you that chatbots are certainly getting this almost resurgence in popularity because of the advent of AI tools and what we can do with AI. I would say that this initial interest in chatbots started when they first came out. And you're absolutely right, John. They are very traditional. You have to build it. You have to anticipate, what is my website visitor who's interacting with the chatbot? What are they going to be asking? And so I have to account for that, create the branch, and make sure I get all the right answers. And frankly, I think a lot of people just put up chatbots when the original interest started, either because they said, okay, let's see if we can make this work, probably got a little frustrated, or they just set it and forget it, or they just put it on their website because, well, our competitor has a chatbot, we need to have a chatbot, so therefore let's just literally slap one onto our website and hope for the best. I have one, they have one, we're keeping up with the Joneses.
That is such an important insight, and I think it's completely true that we tend to rush and chase the shiny new thing and think, oh, I need that. Somebody else in my industry has that. I need it too. And we don't necessarily think about the effect on the customer. And I think for a lot of those chatbots, it's kind of not great. A chatbot might pop up in the bottom right hand of a window. It's kind of interruptive, and it's going to say, oh, what can I help you with today? Can I get this for you? Can I get this for you? And it's kind of like walking into Target and having that person come right up to you and say, what can I help you with today? Welcome to Target. What do you need? And it's, I'm not ready. Yeah, back off. I don't need your help now. And I think it can be sort of a jarring experience, and maybe not a very, very pleasant one for consumers. So yeah, a good reminder for any business out there: you don't necessarily have to chase something. Think about the user experience. Think about your own experience when you buy something or you visit a website. Is that what you want? All that said, chatbots are changing. They're becoming way more sophisticated. They're becoming AI powered, more conversational, and it is becoming a different game. So talk about that evolution as we're seeing it now.
Yeah, that evolution, John, is really very fascinating to me, because we can really train a chatbot with AI to absorb a very large amount of knowledge, whether that is through a PDF or whether that's through, here's my website URL, and scan it, scrape it, learn the information, and then be prepared for the correct answers. Unfortunately, we have a little bit of that residual old chatbot probably still there. And what I mean by that is kind of what you just demonstrated. Hey, I'm here if you need help, or how can I help you? What can I help you with? And a lot of times visitors are arriving at your website and they don't know what they don't know. And so therefore, they don't know what's on your website. They don't know. I mean, there's some headings, there's some things that they could probably figure out. But when it comes to specific questions on specific knowledge, which your AI chatbot is trained on, that may be difficult to really get that granularity because the customer or the visitor isn't asking that type of granular question. And so there's so much information that we can do. We can train faster. So we're almost eliminating that branch logic now that the human had to do and set up and make sure that we get it done correctly. And now we're at the point where we can train faster. We can move faster with these AI assisted chatbots. So that is a great advantage there. But there still needs to, like many pieces and parts and tools of AI, there still needs to have that human element, because ultimately we're deploying this for other humans.
And I think it seems to me to be a struggle that a lot of businesses have anyway, that when someone comes to your homepage, it can feel overwhelming. Maybe your homepage is really long. Maybe you've got a video. Maybe it's I think a flaw often is a too long video that's going to give a 7-minute answer to what should be a 30-second answer to a question. And getting on a web page, a homepage especially, can be a little disorienting. You're in a new place. You're trying to understand what this business does, how it can help you, etc. And if you have, headline, images, video, chatbot, all kind of in your face right in a row, that might be information overload. And from what you were just saying, Will, it's interesting. Maybe these AI-powered chatbots might be better suited to a service page, say, when someone's a little further down the funnel. They might have more specific questions about pricing, service, anything that relates to actually doing business with you, rather than who are you, how can you help me, very top of the funnel, I just got here type mentality.
John, I love what you just said about the funnel, because this relates to customer, or in this case, visitor experience. If they're at the top of the funnel, this experience that they are about to have on your website is absolutely crucial. It's just like your website. Am I able to find the answers that I need accurately and quickly? And while most people say, yes, just use our chatbot, like you said, if they're overwhelmed by all these different tools that we can use, then the experience is not going to be a very positive one. And if that's the case, what's going to happen? They're going somewhere else, somewhere that maybe it might be easier to find the answer, that's a little more simplified, that gives the 2-minute video instead of a 7-minute video. So where they are in the funnel is such a key point that you just made, John, that it's so important to keep that in mind as far as visitor experience.
Right. As we always say, the right message at the wrong time is the wrong message. So, if you're not delivering what that person is ready to hear or wanting to hear, we all know what that feels like, to get a fire hose of information when we're not ready for it.
Absolutely.
Or honestly, a sales pitch when we're not ready for it, when we're more on the information gathering stage. It's disorienting and off-putting, and it can lead you astray. So with all of that said, Will, I'd love for you to talk to me. We're in this kind of weird place right now where AI is offering incredible advances. At the same time, it feels as though some tools are kind of not quite ready for prime time, or they're rolling out, or they're in beta, or they're, kind of rough drafts of what they will eventually be. So I want you to, if you would, talk to us a little bit about where we are now and where you think we're going to be 6 months, 12 months down the line.
Where we are now, John, is we're at that infancy stage, maybe a little bit further along than infancy. Obviously, with the entire AI space, whether it's chatbots, AI-assisted chatbots, the entire AI space is going to develop quickly and rapidly, just as quickly as we've seen in 2023, probably even faster now that we're already ramped up. So there are a lot of tools out there that, of course, are being offered at a price. That there are some that are free. There are some free tools out there as well, but they're going to be limited as to how many prompts that you can provide, how you can train them on data and things like that. And so we're in that very careful stage. We need to be careful stage in that, do I go all in with one particular tool, whether that's, for example, chatbase.co or ChatIQ. There's all sorts of tools out there. If you needed something right now, you can find it. And of course, you'll have to pay for it as well in order for it to work, at least from my perspective, to work with visitors that are coming to your website and to work accurately. So, with that in mind, is it a matter of we need to get everything right now, in which case you can find what you're looking for? However, do we sit back and wait? Do we need something? Maybe there's something coming in 2024 that may be better. And so I think a lot of businesses need to ask themselves that question. Is this an immediate need? Is our current chatbot, is it well done? Is it done well enough that it is providing a good experience for our visitors? Is it providing the answers that they're looking for? Is it converting? In which case, why mess with something that's already working? If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So I would say this is going to be an individual, a case by case as to where you are and what you need for your business. Weigh these, I guess I would say, weigh these different, ask these different questions, weigh your different options. For example, I know that HubSpot is certainly working on their own chatbot, AI-assisted chatbot that you can deploy on your website. Now, I may be a little biased as a HubSpot certified trainer, but for me, I would like to see that before I invest in something else for a couple of reasons. I know that HubSpot, number one, if they produce the product, they're going to support the product. And so this is a large company. They have a lot to lose if they get this wrong, but they have a lot to gain if they get it right. And so from a mere beta perspective, I'm on the waiting list. There are a lot of people on that waiting list. Impact is on that waiting list. We're waiting to see how HubSpot is going to make this happen. And I think the real advantage here is if you're already using HubSpot, this will be part of your ecosystem, another kind of tool in your tool belt here, and everything will be connected. My concerns for a tool outside of that would be, how do I deploy it on my website? How do I connect it? It's great that the data is all there, but then do I need to take an extra step to get that data into HubSpot? So there are a lot of questions here. So if you have an immediate need, just to kind of summarize that very long statement, if you have an immediate need, definitely weigh your options. Is there something coming along in the field of AI, whether it's chat AI-assisted chatbots or any other tool? Of course, there's going to be something else coming along down the pike.
Totally agree. And I think it's such a great point, because we are seeing this sort of bonanza of AI tools come out. It's overwhelming. There are tons of them. I don't think they all yet know exactly how they're going to monetize what they offer. How they're going to sustain themselves. I think there's a ton of VC funding propping up this entire industry, and some will take off, some will not, and some will fold. And I think you're right. We're talking about training things on our own data. We're talking about trusting our customer experience to a company that we might not know a ton about. At the same time, those more well-established companies are going to build tools themselves. Probably going to be a little slower to the market, but they're probably going to learn from everybody else, maybe acquire some high quality companies. And, I think about just last week or so, Zoom offered an AI meeting note taker. And I would think that there are 100 companies who have offered Zoom add-on note taker apps that are all of a sudden okay, we are not nearly as relevant. We do not nearly have the gravitas that Zoom does. So for those sort of startups for chatbots that are not HubSpot, don't have that really well recognized moniker, they're not publicly traded companies. Everyone has to, as you said, weigh their options and see what makes the most sense to them. There's always the danger that something always feels like it's 6 months away and it never really kind of gets to where you want it to be. So you don't want to always spend your time on the sidelines and never kind of get into the game because you're waiting for something, the other shoe to drop. But you have to weigh all those concerns of, is this a company that I can trust? Is this with my data, with my customers, etc. Interesting times we're living in, Will. Do you feel that your customers, or sorry, your clients, the clients that we work with at Impact, is this very much top of mind to them? Or is it kind of like it's a nice to have, we'll wait and see when it comes? Or are they really chopping at the bit first in line in the beta?
It depends. Well, everyone is chomping at the bit for the beta. That's for sure, John. They're definitely looking, hey, if HubSpot has the tool that's out there or it's on its way, they're very excited for that, as are so many people. So they understand that the quality is going to be there. Some other folks that I'm working with, they have a different. They might have a different attitude. Number one, they're not even using a chatbot. Maybe they've never tried it before. One of the things I do recommend to clients that have HubSpot, for example, but have never tried a chatbot, I say, well, let's try the tool that you haven't even used yet before we go off and, number one, invest in something outside of HubSpot. And number two, before we say, yes, this new HubSpot AI-assisted chatbot, that's what I want to get. So let's start with what we have currently and let's get it as good as possible. I see it in this example. There are so many poor chatbots, non-AI chatbots out there that there's a distinct advantage if you put together a good one. And yes, you'll have to use the branch logic and all those good things, but in my opinion, no knowledge is wasted. If you take what you learned from creating all that branch logic, when you do invest in either your own AI-assisted chatbot, or you are part of HubSpot's AI-assisted chatbot, you'll use that knowledge again, and you'll have data to back it up. Well, we've had this many visitors. We noticed that the chatbot didn't work correctly here. We can fix this. We can tweak that. We can make this better. So it's a matter of using what you have already before you go jumping on, as you mentioned earlier, the shiny object syndrome. Well, everybody's got it, so we got to get in on it too. Start with what you have.
Yeah, love it. And that feels like, to me, maybe the big takeaway from our discussion today, that we are in an exciting time. Things are changing rapidly. The promise of advancement is palpable. It's kind of right around the corner. If it makes the most sense for you to start exploring AI tools that can help make your website a more interactive experience with your customers, great. There are tons of good options out there. Just like with any other tool, and especially with any other AI tool, do your research. Think carefully about what you're sharing data with, what these tools offer and what they cost, and be on the lookout for big developments from HubSpot, and I'm sure also Salesforce, other similar companies out there that offer streamline the way you interact with customers. Keep watching, because as we're saying, in 6 months or 12 months, this will be a fast-moving market, even faster than it is right now. Will Smith, HubSpot trainer here at Impact, and always interesting voice to share with our audience. Thank you for being here. Any final last words you want to share with our audience?
John, I would just reiterate what you just said. You never know what's coming down the pike, and so let's not set it and forget it. Let's make sure that what we do have is the most up-to-date, the best that it can possibly be, so that when that new thing coming down the pike does finally arrive, you're ready.
You can work with Will Smith or anyone at Impact to help you get more out of HubSpot. We also offer sales training and marketing training and communication training so that your business can flourish as it interacts with customers and interacts with itself. Will, thank you as always, and to everyone listening, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, John.